Good evening. It's nice to be back home. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope those that missed the last 2 weeks realize there's a link in the description of the video here to our backup channel. Because other than commenting on the last video and putting a article on the website in which I did both, that's all I can do. I can't put up a video to let you know that I'm suspended. So, yeah, we caught a 2-week suspension for those that didn't know. For, again, medical misinformation. So, it is absolutely insane the things that I hear discussed by many other prominent names on YouTube, like Peak Prosperity and Tim Pool and others. The amount of detail that they will go into involving COVID and the vaccines for COVID and stuff, the details that they'll go into. And that's fine. But the only reason it's fine is because they've got lawyers. And, you know, when YouTube, and that's what I'm going to talk a little bit about tonight, crossing lines, crossing borders, you know, going beyond people's borders that they put. I'm going to have a little discussion about that. But, you know, when they go taking down true and correct information based on whatever reason, their agenda, whatever reason they give, because they can't really tell you the truth because it would get a whole hell of a lot of people in trouble. Little channels like me are just screwed. You know, we just have to take the hit, and that's all there is to it. But I don't even get even remotely into the details like they do, and yet we catch strikes. So it is what it is. So I do want to talk about boundaries. I want to talk about boundaries in all kinds of senses, because I'll tell you what. This is something people better wake up, and they better wake up damn quick to, and that's people's boundaries. There's a lot of red line, and we'll start with the international stuff. There's a lot of red line talk going on from different nations, all the nations, China, Russia, U.S., North Korea. Everybody's talking about their red lines. Now, mind you, I've watched every one of those damn lines get crossed, and not a thing's been done about it yet. But hey, they're red lines. And the thing of it is, though, is we are seeing this happen on an international level, on a matter that literally is hinging on world war. But we're doing the same thing, too, in our nation. We're doing the same thing in society, on a social level. Boundaries. There is just absolutely no respect for people's boundaries. None. Don't even care. And the problem is people are getting fed up. Plain and simple. And I don't think, just like with nations, just like with Russia, with China, and even NATO, I don't think that this is going to be a never-ending being able to cross people's borders without issue. I think that they are reaching a stage. Let's take. It didn't happen here in the United States. I guess I talked about it yesterday. I don't remember, to be real honest. The article headline out of RT was School Suspends Sex Education After Drag Queen Debacle. And I actually had quoted something here that was in the article. And I covered it yesterday, but I don't think that I went into this. I think I covered it yesterday. Anyway, and I would have been on the backup channel. Anyway, here's a direct quote from the article. Some 11-year-olds at the school were taught about oral and anal sex, while others were told how to masturbate and safely practice fisting. You heard me correctly. Fisting. How to safely practice fisting. Okay? Another group was shown how surgeons can create an artificial penis using skin grafts from a girl's arm, the representative claimed. Now, YouTube, that's a direct quote from the damn article. Bite me. I would say, for me personally, that crosses a few boundaries. And gosh, where do I want to take this? I know I want to take this, but I know where I can't take it as well. Although, understand that, yeah. Even though I can't talk about how I feel, no, I feel. There is not much rehabilitation for stuff like this. Just being real honest. So I wanted to discuss those type of boundaries and then just societal, I don't know what word to put on it. Let me tell you the case I'm talking about, and it's the incident that just happened in St. Louis, to where two men get into an altercation at one location. I assume one of the guys walked to another location. The other guy, it was a homeless white man that walked to another location, and the other guy, a black gentleman, followed him. The homeless man sat down on the sidewalk, and it just, this whole damn thing is bizarre to me, because dude takes a pistol out of his pocket and apparently wasn't loaded. I mean, that just blows my mind to begin with. Who carries a pistol and doesn't keep it ready to go? That's just weird. And then when he went to load the pistol, he seemed to have quite a bit of trouble with it. I don't really know what was up with that. He worked with it a little bit. Almost looked like there could have been a jam or something he had to clear before he put the magazine. I don't know. It's weird. So he's standing there fiddling around with his gun, trying to get it, ready to go. And the entire time, the only reason why I can sit here and tell you about this is because somebody's sitting in a store, in a business or something behind a window, recording them. I know there was at least two men there. I don't know where they were, how many men or how many people, whatever there were. But nobody made an attempt to put a stop to what that man was about to do, which I find mind-blowing. And then the dude just, after he got the gun squared away, pointed it at the head of the homeless man and pulled the trigger. Broad daylight. Right in the middle of St. Louis. That, to me, is just insane. Absolutely insane. And the reason I'm talking about these stories is because I think there is an element in society that are pretty sick and tired. I think there's an element in society that probably aren't going to let their boundaries be trampled for very much longer. I know how I am. I can't speak for others. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'm not like a lot of others. But I'll tell you what, I'm one of those people, I'll just let things build. And I'll keep my mouth shut until the one day I don't. But that's usually when it's assholes and elbows. I don't play games with boundaries. I just don't. Again, I can't really openly speak on how I feel about like this incident, like, and I don't know even of a hypothetical situation to put me in. But I know one thing. These fruitcakes that want to do all this stuff with the kids, keep them away from me. Probably be a good idea, Tater. Keep them away from me. I don't play. And I'm not going to let some government tell me right from wrong when I've got a good book right there that has a hell of a lot more moral in it than what they've got. Written by somebody with a hell of a lot more importance than these hacks that are in our government. To me, you measure a man by his integrity. But let me tell you something. You'll know damn well the man that lives by integrity, because he'll be taking a beating the entire damn way. That's a fact. I really do think we're going to start seeing some unrest in the country. And I don't think it's all just organic. I don't think it's all just by chance. I think that this stuff has been well thought out, well directed, choreographed even at points. This society was sheep led to a slaughter. Make no mistake of it. And the biggest problem is, what's the good book say about what goes before the fall? Ego and pride, right? Ego and pride. Well, you try telling somebody that's full of ego and pride that they're about ready to fall. Good luck with that. Because they won't listen. They don't have a clue. I think we're reaching a point in our society where the individuals that's been trying to tell the others that they're about to take a fall are probably going to start I'm trying to think of a good word. I'll just say making noise. Making headlines. I don't know what to say. I know people are tired of it. I know that I'm just lost for words here. The furthest extremes, it seems like, is what they are targeting, especially the left. It's like the furthest extreme that they could possibly dream of. And, the thing of it is I don't think, obviously, the right's not good with that. I don't think the moderates are good with that. And I think that a fair amount of the left isn't good with it. I think it's just this fringe element. Again, the extremists. There's extremists on the right, there's extremists on the left. And I really do think that we're going to start seeing individuals in this country, I'm just going to say, strike back. But I think it's going to be coupled with and antagonized by some other factors. Don't think that this is just going to be, like I said a while ago, just completely organic. Because it's also going to be a lack of sustenance, and in other words, it's going to be a lot harder for people to make ends meet. And it's been continually getting harder for people to make ends meet. Well, it's not going to get any better. From my understanding, and I don't know jack crap about finances, but from my understanding, if the Fed keeps up with the way they're quote-unquote managing this situation, they are most certainly going to break the bank, pun intended. That's from my understanding. Again, that's a very limited understanding. But it makes sense. From the outside looking in, it makes sense. But I also have the understanding and the realization that I have watched several financial crises in my lifetime, including the 2008 housing debacle, right? Which, by the way, part of our issues that we're facing today is a direct result of the bullshit actions that they took during that recession. And, they just kicked the can down the road. Oh, guess what? We've walked up to the can and it's had the hell kicked out of it so bad we can't even kick it no more. And that's where we stand. And then on top of that, we had this whole COVID thing that came, and our debt just went insane. And then we got this Ukraine thing. I think monetarily, financially, for everyone, I think it's going to get pretty rough in this country. And that alone, just by itself, that alone would be enough to cause a lot of strife. And I don't just mean for people individually or within their families, but I mean people starting to lash out at others and whatnot as a result of it. I don't hope for these things, but I'm just warning of these things. There's been lots of reports, just people on edge. And I think we're going to continue to see that. But my advice is if you're extreme on stuff, whether you're on the right, on the left, no matter what, if you're extreme on stuff, my advice would be to back off. Because I don't think it's going to be a whole lot longer before people literally put their foot down or up someone's butt. I'm starting to see a lot of unsettled conversations and stuff. It's just odd what I'm seeing on social media and stuff. Just very odd. Anyway, I just kind of wanted to talk about that because it's literally from the international community all the way down to individuals. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I don't get what the infatuation with testing people. Don't get it. It's not a bright idea. Not a bright idea. I don't know how many out there are like me, but like I said, I'm one of those people. I'll keep my mouth shut and I'll just grin and bear it, so to speak, until I've had enough. And you won't have any notice. Nothing. It's just the way I am. It's the way I've always been. My thoughts behind it is, it's completely disrespectful to begin with to do that, to completely just sit there and test someone's their their borders, but I don't know. I never could understand the infatuation with it. I don't know. A lot of people in society like to do it, though. Not real bright. Anyway, I've got 5. I had a hard time reading it. 5 tabs open, not a ton. There just really wasn't a whole lot, really, throughout the day. I mean, there were several headlines and stuff, but we're in a period, I think, in a lot of the stuff where we're kind of in the middle of the next big thing, right? I think we're going to be seeing the next big thing in this conflict with Ukraine and Russia very soon. But we're not there yet. But I think it's coming. I think it's literally right around the corner. I'm sure most people could pick up on the humor with the thumbnail tonight. So, Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot lost her re-election bid, and so that is like the first time, I believe, in like 40 years that a Democratic mayor of Chicago lost a re-election bid. So I'm pretty sure that speaks for something. I don't know anything about the individuals that are up to bat, so to speak, but, well, they're from Chicago. I wouldn't trust them just on that alone, but, gosh, you would think that anything would be better than Beetlejuice. You would think. But, let me remind you that, what is it, Pennsylvania, their director of health or whatever is a heavy-set transsexual human. That is who is in charge of health. I'm just saying, you know, if I was the cat filling those positions, the individuals that they're choosing are not the individuals that I would be choosing. The other one's this Sam Britton or whatever the hell his name is, the dude that likes to dress up like a lady and steal people's baggage and clothes and stuff like that, and didn't wear it at like big public events. Sam Britton's, I don't know. That dude, though. I mean, seriously. You know, the whole frog and a boiling pot of water thing. One of the things I pretty well have been able to do is prevent myself from boiling or from getting hot in the water, so to speak. In other words, what I'm getting at is, with all their brainwashing, with all their nonsense and all that they've tried for the 50 years I've been here, they've not been successful. And I look at things with a fresh slate. I don't have a preconceived thing, because I learned long ago you can't go by that. No, you know, you can't go by that. You have to look at each individual thing in itself, and then you have to consider how everything else around it affects it and all that. But you have to take a fresh look each time. Sure, notice things like patterns and stuff like that, but never get too comfortable with a pattern that you stop paying attention, because you'll trip yourself up bigger than shit with that. I don't even know where I was going to go. It just, keep an eye out on what's going on. Keep a look at the big picture. I mean, some of it, you're probably not going to have any real clear answer to what's going on. I know I sure the hell don't. When it comes to like that Sam Britton character, and this Lori Lightfoot and her cowboy ambitions and all that craziness, I got nothing. I don't get it. I don't get it for a second how people like that would be let in those positions. And then, this is the kicker. I had this thought today, and since I had this thought, I'm plaguing you with it as well. So we talked about this Sam character, right? I know I'm probably getting his last name wrong, but the dude that dresses like a lady and steals a bunch of handbags and luggage and wears the stuff publicly. That dude, right? With a very, very bright red lipstick. That dude. Well, anyway, old Tutti Frutti there, held a pretty damned high position within our government, and a pretty damned important position with our government. And why was he put in that position? Well, because he was Tutti Frutti, and that's why he was put there. And I'm sorry, that's the truth of it. And I look at that without having let them normalize all this craziness over the 50 years I've been here. I'm looking at it and I'm going like, pardon my language, but what the fuck? Because how do you even get there? Right? I'm not asking the question, how do you get from here to here? How do you get here, period? How do you get there, period? Who, how, in their right mind, ever woke up one day and said, hey, we need to find the fruitiest fruitcakes and put them in some of the highest positions in the nation. I mean, what's even worse is they included nuts in the fruitcake. Who in the hell puts nuts in fruitcake? Ugh. But I can't even. Nutty fruitcake. That's all I can do is laugh. That's really all I can do, because I'm at a loss of how we got there. I don't ask the question, how do we get from here to here? No, bullshit. I ask the question, how the hell do we get there? Because, they were trying to normalize Tutti Frutti a long time ago. And again, just like I was saying about boundaries and stuff, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut, stay the hell out of it, as long as nobody's forcing me to have a dog in the fight. I'll keep my mouth shut. Because it is what it is. Hey, it's just my opinion. Who the hell am I? And that's literally how I view myself. I don't view myself as more important than anybody else. Period. My opinion holds no more value than anybody else's. And that being said, I think I should be allowed to have my opinion uninhibited, just like they should be allowed to have their opinion uninhibited. But where it crosses that line for me is when they're trying to normalize it as a major part of society when it's actually just a teensy little bitty bit. They try to normalize it like it's an extremely normal thing and literally try to push the kids in that direction. That's what they're doing. They are pushing the kids. Man, I remember being in high school. Possibly, I might not have. I actually may have been a little younger. It might have been my brothers in high school. I think it was my brothers in high school. But I can remember very vaguely, very little bit of my parents talking about sex ed in schools, and they were just talking about it and stuff back and forth. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, one of my older brothers had to have a piece of paper signed or something, saying that it was okay or whatever that the parents knew they were going to be attending sexual education class. And what they covered in those classes really was nothing. It certainly wasn't fisting. Holy hell. I mean, about the furthest that it got would be talking about condoms. And man, the hell the school went through if they tried handing some out. I'm 50 years old. You're talking 35, 40 years ago, which I guess is a little bit of time. Damn, I'm going to stop talking about that. It gets depressing. Damn, yo. Okay, so I guess it has been a while, but... Damn it. I have to depress myself like that. But anyway, so yeah, it's been a little bit of time. But nonetheless, that was a big deal. That was a very, very big deal. I remember. Now, when I got, my brothers are older. When I got into high school, I don't think that there was anything like that. And I don't know. I don't think they made a real big point of it. I think it was just more or less kind of a part of health class, and they really didn't separate it or anything like that. It was just kind of just something that they included in health class, and it was about the same thing, wear a condom kind of stuff like that. That was it. That was it. I have to ask the question again. How did we get there? Because, again, to establish the level of sexual education that I received, the schools went through hell doing it back when my brothers were going through. And I believe they were like, the first ones to have that, if I'm not mistaken. It's insane, So let me just wrap up this entire monologue in just a real short thing, right? So, schools now teach you safe fisting practices, okay? But no longer will teach you how to change the tire on your car when you have a flat. Because we all know the dangers of not fisting properly. And, anybody can change a tire, right? No? Oh, that's right. You call somebody to change a tire. That's right. We don't change tires anymore. That might be dangerous. You want to stay at home and do much safer things like, fisting, right? Right? You stay home and fist, you don't even have to worry about the car accident you could possibly get into. You don't got to worry about tickets. You ain't got to worry about nothing. Just fist responsibly. All right? Fist responsibly. So I keep hearing the father's going to come home. I do want to make a comment about that. Oh gosh, I can't believe I just went on and on and on and on and on about the things that I did, and I'm gonna bring this up. But hey, this is why you love me. While we were gone from here, from this particular channel, we were over on the backup channel. Something amazing happened, and just absolutely incredible. And I'm sure there are several of you here now that were there the whole time, but others that may not have known we were over in the backup channel. I'm sure you already know about the whole ordeal that happened in Asbury University. And my goodness, was that an incredible experience to witness. I'm talking about the revival at Asbury University, and days and days and days of worship and song, and that was one of the most incredible experiences. I didn't go there. Let me make that very clear. I didn't go there. Sitting right here in this chair, watching from my computer, the only way and the best way that I can describe what I felt was like an extension cord of spirituality that was just literally plugged in from me sitting in my chair right into that hall at that university. And that was an incredible experience to see and feel, most certainly feel. That was cool. That was really, really cool. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, check it out. It's incredible. And I found this is something kind of personal, but I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. Knowing me, I've actually got a new favorite song. I'm a big fan of Ozzy. Always been a fan of Ozzy. Big fan of Tool. And Ozzy and Tool were battling in the top spots for favorites of mine. But there was a song called Promises, and I can't remember the band off the top of my head that does it. But holy cow. My goodness, is it incredible. Hang on. It won't take me but a second to pull it up because you guys got to see the one I'm talking about. Oops. I'm going to search watch history. I'm using my tablet now to control the show and the lights because for some reason my phone is acting stupid. Really, Ming? Really, Ming? It's not even coming up. Well, that's a bunch of... Yeah, there it is. It's pretty bad when I can't pull it up in my history, but I can pull it up in suggestive searches. Yeah, that's odd. Okay, so, and I can't play it because I'll get spanked all the hell, I'm sure. But, I'll let it start. Oh, audio's down. Faithful through the ages. Anyway, I can't let it play, but that is oops, I should have said who it was before I closed it. Okay, the channel that I've got, this is Tribal, Tribl, but it's Promises featuring Joe L. Barnes and Naomi Rain, Maverick City Music, and then the Tribal thing. But anyway, my new favorite song, period. That thing is just, And I learned about that song from the revival. I had no idea about it, but that was one of the songs that they continually sang. and I enjoyed listening to them singing it. And then when I found the actual song, holy cow. Anyway, thought I would add that. Let's see. Other than that, can't think of anything. There were so many things, of course. I think I was still on this channel, before the suspension with the whole spy balloon. And, yeah. It's messed up. How? I gotta ask it again. And I'm not just talking about the whole thing with the kids in schools. I'm talking about everything. How did we get here? I mean, how the hell did we get here? Insanity, man. All right, let me get this headline. Oof. Well, this just came out. I probably ought to cover this with absolute expediency. I would be what a responsible news organization would do. Actually, it's kind of serious, so I'm not making light of it. I'm just being a jackass. But anyway, I'm good at that. This literally just came across my desk, or at least my browser. British pet cats faced extermination. Okay, it says UK officials considered asking citizens to exterminate their pet cats near the start of the coronavirus pandemic as a novel way to flatten the curve, a former minister has said, noting that the government was not sure whether felines were playing a role in the health crisis. Speaking to a local media outlet for an interview on Wednesday, ex-Deputy Health Minister Lord James Bethell described the initial response to COVID-19 by government agencies, saying, "We shouldn't forget how little we understood about this disease at the time. There was a moment we were very unclear about whether domestic pets could transmit the disease," he said. In fact, there was an idea at one moment that we might have to ask the public to exterminate all the cats in Britain. Can you imagine what would have happened if we wanted to do that? Now, I can imagine. I can imagine. It's a double-edged sword, because when you have governments like we have collectively, you can't trust a damn thing they say or do. The scariest thought of that is what if something would come along that would really, really require our participation to mitigate? It's crazy. And that's why, even early on, there was a lot of people that were really coming down hard about masks and stuff. And I was like, and I still feel the same way. Why? Why are you worried about somebody else wanting to protect themselves? That shouldn't be your concern. That's not your responsibility. Somebody wants to wear a mask, let them. Shouldn't be anything on you. Who the hell puts you above another person to tell them that they should or should not take whatever precautions they feel are necessary to protect themselves that are not affecting you? That's the important part. It's them putting on a mask is not harming you. I'm not speaking to you, as in the people watching the show specifically, but from the beginning I was like that, and I still feel that way. Leave people the hell alone. Let them make their choices. It is what it is, I haven't seen it. It's probably been a month or so. But I was still seeing a couple people when they would drive by it. A couple people, older people, would have masks on when they drive by it. Don't think nothing of it. I mean, it is what it is. Let me tell you this. After coming down with COPD, I completely understand what some of the complaints with the masks were as far as mandating them with people not being able to breathe. Because I can tell you, I went right as the COVID thing was starting underway and all the masking and all that stuff. I had to get something, and I went to our local Dollar. I think it was the Dollar Tree I went to. No, it wasn't. It was the Dollar General, the newer one. The one in the old family, well, she would know. The one in the old family video store. But anyway, we've got $2 Generals, so woohoo! I don't know why, it makes no damn sense, but we've got $2 Generals. A town of just under 10,000 people, we need $2 Generals. Okay. Well, anyway, so, anyway, I went to the Dollar General. I can't remember what I was there getting. It was something in the back, though. I don't know what it was. Something all the way in the back. It was in the cooler. Do you remember? Well, I don't either. That's a damn shame. I don't know. I have no idea what it was. But I remember that I rode the bike there, the e-bike. I didn't pedal, so pedaling, well, I'm just saying, that's not a factor in this, COPD, yo. However, I don't have to pedal. All I'll have to do in some instances is just walk across the room, and I can't breathe. So it is what it is, but I went there on the bike, and I had an N95 mask, and because I'm not an idiot, I also told people, if you were concerned about this and you felt like you needed to wear a mask, that you don't wear anything less than an N95. And I said that from day one as well. Why? Because that's correct. That's what really kind of pissed me off with all this, especially even with YouTube and stuff. None of us could tell the truth. None of us could help one another because of all the agendas going on and all the iron fists that they wanted to slam down on the table. Nobody could help one another, even if they were saying the correct information. Anyway, I pulled out my mask. No, I didn't wear it while I rode the bike to the store. And I put the mask on. And by the time that I walked to the back of the store, that's how I remember I went to the cooler for something. By the time that I got to the back of the store, I couldn't breathe. I mean, I could not breathe. And I had actually started a little bit to panic because I didn't know what to do. Reason why I'm saying that is because I try to follow rules, especially if it's in your castle. Okay? I was in Dollar General's castle. Their castle rules were you gotta have a mask. Okay. I'm not gonna argue it. See, there's a lot of people No, there's this thing called private property rights, and I'll be damned if I let people stomp on other people's private property rights. If I'm that bothered by their requirement for me to wear a mask to go into their store, then I won't go into their store. But I'm not bothered by it, not in the very least. I'll put on a damn mask and walk in. And like I said, if I was bothered by it, I wouldn't go in. It's called choices. We're all supposed to have them. All of us. Well, anyway, I couldn't breathe. And the reason I was panicking, or I wasn't panicking, but kind of starting to, it would bother me. because I knew if I wanted to breathe, I had to pull the mask away from my face because I couldn't get an air in. I mean, it's bad. COPD sucks. I can't even describe it. You're pushing air in and out, right? And it's not doing anything. It's the weirdest. You're breathing, air is going in and out, but nothing's happening. Nothing's getting better. It can be petrifying. It can actually be petrifying. Especially when you don't know a whole lot about it. I can't help that. I'm a white male estranged father. I'm just supposed to be expected to suffer and die. That's pretty much where it is right now when it comes to white male estranged fathers. And that's no joke. So anyway, sorry I keep getting away from the story, but I wound up, because I knew the other decision that I could have made, the other choice I had, was to try to rush back out of the store and then pull the mask away from my face so I could breathe. But I was already in trouble. And I knew if I tried to hurry up and briskly walk out of the store, I was going to put myself in a way worse position than I already was. It probably sounds silly to a lot of people. I'm sure it doesn't to those that have COPD, but so I did right there at the coolers of the store. I went ahead and I pulled the mask away from my face. And I'm going to be honest, I was even concerned a little bit doing it about my own health, because I'm telling you, those first 2-3 strains that went through, I wouldn't have made it. Nah, those strains that were causing all that gooky stuff in people's lungs and stuff, those first strains would have wiped me out. Guaranteed. And I knew it. I'm not an idiot. I knew it. And so I had that mask on for my protection as well. I'll emphasize once again, I knew I needed an N95 and nothing less. But I did. I pulled it away and I just kind of tried to calm myself down, and then tried to get my breathing under control. And I did. And it was no big deal. But I don't even know how I got onto that. But, that's why I was that way, though. Right from the get-go, I was like, look, somebody wants to wear a mask, let them wear a mask, myself, for my protection. Well, and I said it on the show several times. When Jen would go somewhere, she'd wear a mask. She was wearing a mask for my protection. Because if she got sick and then came and brought it to me, I'm still just as screwed as if I was the one that caught it first. So, she were one to protect me. And I appreciate that. Again, I'm not an idiot. I knew that there was something out there, something that existed. And I knew that the beginning strains had a huge effect on someone's breathing. And I'm not an idiot. So I stay clear of that nonsense. We went, I don't know any other way to put this, but we went on alert, what was it, 2.5 weeks before everybody else? When I say that, I meant we cut down, not like we had people that came over all the time or anything like that, but we started switching up, some of the things we did. Again, it's not like we had a lot of exposure anyway, but what exposure we did have, we did what we could to minimize it. And like I said, she took precautions. She would wear a mask when she'd go somewhere. Just did the things, right? That's one of the things that I actually laughed at, because a lot of the prepper channels and stuff were coming out against people that were wearing the masks and stuff, and it's like, aren't you a prepper? Okay. So if a possibly dangerous contagion is going around, as a prepper, you'd make fun of people that would want to be prepared to deal with that? That's how that works. I'm telling you, a whole lot of folks that have no idea. And the only way you can have an idea, how's this for bringing it in, is if you stop looking at how did we get from here to here. Okay, because they're using that. They're using the normalization of that to slip this stuff in. You have to look at it directly from how did we get to there, period. Period. I think we got crazy times coming. I think morals, integrity, skills, motivation, attitude, all that stuff is going to go a real long way soon enough. But I'll say this. Be straight with people. Be straight with people. Don't make yourself bigger than what you are. That's important. But at the same time, don't shortchange yourself. Know your value. Let others know your value. And just like my aunt and uncle would tell me, didn't matter what I did. Didn't matter if I was a trash man. Be the best damn trash man that I could be. And I literally took that advice to heart. I did. I poured a lot into a lot of the different jobs that I had that wasn't necessary. But I did it because I'm there to do a job. I'm going to do it well. My name reflects on that job. And that was important to me. Remember, I'm big, real big on integrity. That includes stamping my name of approval on something. It's got to be something that I approve. And when it comes to my own work, it's got to be done at least right enough. Don't get me wrong. Now myself, things for myself, I might patch that up 7 ways from Sunday. But if I'm doing something for somebody else, it's going to be done right. Or as right as I can possibly do it. And if I do have to really jury rig something, then I'm going to let you know about it. So, and if it's going to be a good quality, long-lasting jury rig, I'll let you know. And if it's something just to get you home, I'll let you know that too. But see, that all goes back into what I was saying about the skill sets and stuff like that. But you have to be straight. Because if you're not straight with people and you put people in a bad position because they thought you could handle something that you couldn't, not a good place to be. And unfortunately, today, there's a lot of forgiveness when it comes to things like that. When I say forgiveness, you may lose your job or something like that, but you're probably not going to take one to the skull. In an SHTF environment, you might take one to the skull if you make a big enough mistake. So, just saying. Just being real. Somebody posted in one of the Prepper Channel's Facebook groups, and they had brought up TV shows and movies and talked about what they've learned in those TV shows and movies. Made sure to leave a comment that, hey, Chief, that's not what you want to go by. That's not what you want to go by. And you don't want to go by the vision of most of the prepper channels because they don't have a clue. I can't believe how many times I say this, but you know what? It goes back to all of the years, decades that I'd been telling people about Agenda 21, being called a conspiracy theorist when I literally was trying to give them the actual official bona fide website, but I was still a nutcake. Anyway, let's do some news. I'm sitting here jabbering. It's like 9:06 and holy hell, I must have missed being on my normal channel or something. I did actually. I'll be honest, I did. So I told you about the poor cats. They didn't have to be exterminated though. Reason took over. So anyway, Beetlejuice got evicted. Well, okay. Well, Chicago mayor suffers historic loss. Same thing, right? Lori Lightfoot, Beetlejuice, she, the first mayor of the city since 1983 to lose her re-election bid. Yeah, I mean, most of them they have to throw in prison. No, I'm kidding. That doesn't happen to the mayors. That only happens to the governors. But anyway, anyway, she's out. They've had enough of her ass. And, well, it goes to show you can only be so dumb because they were smart enough to get her ass out. Only be so dumb. There is a level that I believe that everyone is above, and apparently that is the Lori Lightfoot level. In fact, we ought to call it that in psychology. We ought to introduce that. I ought to write up a paper, the Lori Lightfoot level of intelligence. Interesting. Anyway, yes. Oh, right on, Jimmy Crack Corn, right on. Yeah, we're just over, we're not far from St. Louis. I'm pretty sure I've been to Branson one time when I was a kid, I think. I know my parents went back later on, and I don't think I went with them when they went back. Because if I'm not mistaken, my parents went to Branson, and I want to say they took my little brother, and I want to say they rode the ducks and all that stuff. And if I'm recalling correctly, and if I had been there one time with them, we didn't do all that. We didn't ride the ducks and all that stuff. So, but I can't 100% say for certain that I did go to Branson with my parents. I don't know. But it is, from what I've seen, what I've heard, absolutely gorgeous. I don't want to go there, though, for SHTF. No, thank you. I don't want nothing to do with that area. I don't want nothing to do with the whole Ozark area. Nope. Because there's other cats that plan to use that as a place to live. And, well, I'm pretty sure they're not going to want any neighbors. Let's see. U.S. House Committee votes on TikTok ban. So, and I'm not 100% sure. You know, they've already, like this says, they've already ordered the federal employees to delete the app. Okay. But I don't know if this, I'm thinking that this is a possible nationwide ban. As in, no one in the country could use it. And that is pretty damn significant. I ain't got a problem with it. And I say that at the same time, here I was just a little bit ago talking about freedom. How do you deal with this? and remain having a spirit of freedom? Just ban kids from it? I don't know. That isn't going to work. They tried doing that with movies, video games. Doesn't matter. Parents will buy the movies, buy the video games. Doesn't matter. TikTok, same thing. I don't know. It all goes back to what I've been saying ever since I started doing this show. And, well, much before. It starts in our homes. You know, maybe the problem itself is the fact that so many kids want to participate in something like that. And then what's that say for the adults that participate in this stuff and that encourage the kids to participate in this stuff? Now, a lot of people may not understand what's your issue, dude? What do you got up your ass about TikTok? Vanity. That's my problem. Pride. That's my problem. Because that is what those platforms encourage. And that is also a quick and direct path to self-destruction. So, I ain't got a problem with it going. But we should probably be taking care of that in our own homes instead of wanting governments to dictate it for us. We should be the parents, not government. And I think that's been a huge problem in this nation. A huge, huge problem in this nation. What's up with the Ozarks? Well, because there are a lot of very important individuals that are going to set up shop in the Ozarks whenever the time calls for it. There's quite a few heavily reinforced structures in the Ozark area. One of them's been kind of covered and kind of well known. Even Jesse Ventura did a show on it. And it's a building that could withstand a nuclear blast, a direct hit from a tornado. I don't know if it could withstand a direct nuclear blast, but there was some type of nuclear blast protection it was built with. And now, mind you, this structure is built on top of the, what are those? The big caverns there. Is that lime or whatever it is? I don't think it's salt. I don't know what it is, but the big caverns, the expansive cavern systems that they've got there. This building is built on top of that cavern system and has direct access, as in like elevator or whatever, to get down into the cavern system. So that's just one building, and from my understanding, that was possibly going to be some type of a headquarters. And that's just that one building. Remember, when they're showing you the right hand, you got to look at what the left hand's doing. There are a lot larger, more sophisticated structures being built in the area that Jesse Ventura is not doing videos about. So there's a lot of this going on in that area. And once again, I'll say, those individuals that plan on residing at those facilities aren't going to be too kind to neighbors. I also have my suspicions when it comes to that, and I can't share anymore because I just can't. There are some individuals on YouTube that I've been wise to for quite some time. Some of them much longer than since I've been on YouTube. And well, let's just say that there's individuals in that area that is, I'm convinced it is their job to deal with those neighbors that either are or may decide to come there at whatever time they need dealt with. Probably gave out a little too much information there, but don't move to the Ozarks. Just saying, don't move to the Ozarks. Not a good place to go. In many, many aspects, it's a wonderful place to go. In other aspects, not so much. Let's see. TikTok sets screen time limit. So I was telling you about the TikTok thing. Actually, I thought that was... So apparently, teen users who spend 60 minutes on the platform will be asked for a passcode to continue scrolling. If they turn off the default limit and they regularly spend over 100 minutes on TikTok, another prompt will ask them to set their own screen time limit, because there's no better way than saying, well, you just do whatever the hell you want, kid. Yeah. Maybe. Just gonna go out on a limb here. Maybe young kids shouldn't be running around with devices like this. I know that's probably gonna sound really bizarre, but remember what I said earlier about I don't approach things from how did we get from here to here. I approach them from how the hell did we get here? I'm thinking when I was a kid, dude, really? Dude, I wouldn't have even had the balls to tell my parents they better put a phone in my bedroom. You know, the corded phones? Yeah, remember those days? Yeah. I mean, we had one, but I'm just saying, I'm giving that example. Kids nowadays will throw a big-ass fit if their parents don't buy them the new iPhone or whatever, right? I tell you what, one time, it would have took one time me walking up to my dad and giving him hell because they didn't buy me something. It would take one time. I guarantee I would never do that again. Guaranteed. Some people might say, well, that's horrible. That's abuse. Oh, yeah? Well, okay. I survived. And I'm not a fucked up fruitcake. So, I have the ability to stand on my own as far as the my thoughts, my views, my opinions. I don't have to stand with a group to feel secure, and in many times I don't stand in a group. There's a lot of times my viewpoints, I'm standing there alone. Doesn't matter to me. Integrity. I would rather stand there alone and stand for what I am than what I would to be fake. Fuck that. No way. No way. Anyway. A U.S. doomsday plane flies to Europe. Thought that was kind of interesting. I'm not going to spend time on these because it's 19 after 9 and I want to go to bed. I don't know. Let's see. U.S. domestic terror cases more than triple, says a watchdog. So, you know. It'd be really nice if the next time the aliens stop past the planet, they'd give me a lift. Will you fellas? Beam my ass up, Scotty. Alright, let's do some headlines. Because apparently Scotty doesn't like me. Bastard. What? I'm talking to Scotty, Scotty. He's got the frickin' Vulcan friend with the pointy ears and... Scotty! Beam me the fuck up out of here now, man. Bastard! See? No respect. So, any predictions on how long it'll be before I'm in the psych ward? I mean, we could, take bets and shit. Make it fun. We have raffle. Somebody can get my water cup, right? Of course, I'd offer my shoestrings, but they're going to take them bad boys. Okay. Goodness. I gotta add some vapes. Tomorrow I get to change flavor. Yay! Flew a little bit today in the sim. And, that'd be real awesome, Layol, if you're still out there. You get the sim up and going. That'd be awesome. I was in it. I played around a little bit today. I couldn't get satisfied in what I wanted to fly or what I wanted to do, so that's the way it is when I'm flying alone. That's why I want people to fly with, because it's boring flying alone. But anyway, I went and smashed a few planes in Sharktooth Ridge, and one of these days I'll set up some really stupid, messed up weather. I'll set up custom weather. The only thing I'll do is I'll make it to where there's fairly decent visibility, so I can see something. I'll make stupid, crazy, heavy rain and wind and all that stuff. And I'll show you. I'll take some stupid planes and have fun. Now I can do that. I couldn't do that before because my video card wasn't mean enough to handle it. So, anywho, let's read these damn things and get the hell out of here before I incriminate myself even more. Alright. Twitter clarifies violent speech policy. That was last night that came out, I believe, after the show. Indian spirits to replace Western liquor brands in Russia, says Commerçant. FBI makes claim over most likely COVID origin. YouTube, I'm reading a headline, damn it. Russia finds answer to IKEA exit, says media. Russia's oil output hits pre-sanctions high, says Commerçant. Ukraine warned it will have to pay for weapons, as if. Minsk and Beijing never intend to work against third nations, says Lukashenko. U.S. ready to do more pain to China's Huawei, says Wall Street Journal. Russian allies facing unprecedented pressure from the U.S., says security chief. Russia moves to extend anti-smear legislation. Tech giant bans remote work from abroad. And that is completely distasteful. That headline, they need canceled. That's no way to refer to a woman. Tech giant bans remote work from abroad. So there's some woman out there that I guess they don't like, and that's not what that means. Ukrainian drone raid on Crimea foiled, says Moscow. Yeah, I know, my jokes suck. Pentagon, well aware of Ukraine's corruption problem. Okay, then why are we funneling them money and weapons? Zelensky advisor suggests possible retreat from key city. Probably be a good idea. I think Putin's about ready to stomp a mud hole in somebody's ass. EU nation seeks to ban Russian nuclear industry. Moscow reacts to alleged radioactive shipment to Ukraine. Seismologist behind Turkey quake prediction issues another warning. Beijing responds to FBI's COVID origin claim. Pentagon makes prediction on Ukraine conflict timeline. Erdogan portrait torched in NATO-bound country, says media. Let's see. Kremlin reacts to Kiev's claim about raids into Russia. Former UK FM dreams of mutiny against Putin and prank call. Scientists eye to use brain cells to make AI. They're going to use brain cells to make the AI. At any point, does this become dangerous? I mean, you know, if I didn't have to live on the same ball of dirt, I wouldn't care. But, man, I ain't got it in me to be fighting Transformers and shit. I don't think I got that in me. Mega trying to fuck me up. Anyway, TikTok. Oh, I covered that. Israeli parliament passes death penalty bill. Turkish FM speaks out on sanctioning Russia over Ukraine. Russian airlines surviving sanctions, says Bloomberg. FBI investigating gender-fluid former nuclear official, says media. That's that Sam Brinton or whatever the hell that fruitcake freak's name is. Yeah, Sam Brinton. Now, I'm sorry if YouTube or anybody doesn't like hot. I'm fruitcake. Fruity fruitcake. Plain and simple. I ain't playing nobody's games. Let's see. Israeli parliament passes death penalty bill. Probably a good idea. Turkish FM speaks out on... Can we start with... Never mind. Turkish FM speaks out on sanctioning Russia over Ukraine. Russian airlines surviving sanctions, says Bloomberg. EU nations MP greenlight joining NATO. FBI investigating gender... Oh, wait, I've already read those. I'm sorry. Biden tells creepy hospital story. New York mayor claims mandate from heaven. Ohio chemical disaster may hold long-term health risks, says experts. Palestinian town should be wiped out, says an Israeli minister. I don't get how people will support that stuff. That's, to me, nonsense. Germany's army cannot defend the country, says defense minister. Blinken finds positive elements in Chinese peace plan for Ukraine. Yeah, like not getting nuked. That's positive. Ancient mummy found in delivery man's backpack. Because, I mean, that happens to all of us a few times in our life. You just, you pick up your bag, you're going to go to school or college or whatever, and you forgot. You had the mummy in the backpack the other day. You were going to, How the hell? Again, I don't ask the question, how do we get from here to here? I ask, how the hell did we get there? Same thing applies. U.S. spies reach conclusion on Havana syndrome, says Washington Post. So they're saying now they don't believe that it was something caused by like China or Russia or... So I don't know. Estonian towns reluctant, I'll get it right, to host destroyed Russian tank exhibition, says media. Pro-Kiev stunt in Baltics goes awry. NBC journalist added to Kiev's kill list. And then I covered that last one there. So anyway, that is what I got for you. I'm going to run the hell out of here. I'm very happy to be back at the regular Bat channel. But yeah, just like any other night. I'm like, I guess I gave up. I don't know how else to say it. If at 9:30, my biggest ambition is to go to bed, I made some kind of a fucked up turn at Albuquerque. I don't know how the hell I got. Now, see, that's what I can't do, right? I can't figure out how I got here, right? I can't figure out how I got to be the grumpy old man that watches out his window and wonders what the hell the neighbor's doing, right? How the hell did I get there? I don't know. Anyway, I'm getting out of here, and God willing, I'll be back tomorrow. YouTube willing, I won't. And I hope to see you then. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. You probably shouldn't act like me, and you know, the Father probably frowns upon some of my shenanigans. But anyway, be one with your spirit. Be better with your spirit than I am. And shalom.